Hey, what's good? It's Cadillaktrackz. This is quick tip number 79. Today's quick tip is something I did. It requires a little bit of work, but it's worth it. It's just an organization technique, a tip, just kind of like the one I did with the VST browser preset organization. This is Kontakt right here, and as you can see with Kontakt, one thing that you should do is you should have a Kontakt set up where the mixer set up right here. I'll have to go into another video to show exactly how to do that. You can set the Kontakt mixer up so that it has different channels. Right here you can see that it has 8 channels out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That way those channels can link up to different mixer tracks, you know, just using the multiple output on Kontakt. But today's quick tip is about organization inside of Kontakt. You know that Kontakt has this quick load folder. You know, most of us have a lot of Kontakt kits, you know, a lot of them you can have, and sometimes you'll have them where if you click on the libraries tab, they'll actually pop up right here on the libraries tab, and there'll be a little graphic, and you can go through them. But as you know, not every installer, not every sound pack has one of these where it comes with a graphic. Some of them are just the instrument, and they don't actually have a little picture or a little thing to get to. So you have to go through your folders in your computer. And if you're like me, you have a large library of sounds for Kontakt. I know mine is well over 500 gigabytes, and it's just because there's so many different sounds and instruments and stuff, and I like to collect them and keep them, so it takes a lot of space. And one thing I did was I organized them, and what I've done is if you click right here, let me make sure that I'm doing it right. If I click on this view right here, these are the different windows that are available inside of Kontakt. So I click on this quick load one. The quick load view, as you can see, what I've done is I've organized the quick load into folders that organize the different sounds. You know, with Kontakt there's so many different instruments, and you usually have to go to one and click on it, and then you got to load up the NKI, or the little thing with the piano next to it. But what I did was I saved myself some trouble by loading up and making these folders here just for custom type of sounds that we use in our beats, you know, like arp, bass, brass, guitar, you know, leads, plucks, pads, and you know, percussion, piano, stuff like that, and strings. And all I did was just make these folders here. All you have to do is go down here. When this little lock thing is initiated, that means that it won't allow you to bring in stuff and bring in different things into the browser. So make sure that this lock is off, and you just go in here, and you can actually just go in here, and you can go in here and you can make different folders, and you can make different banks. If I go down here to bank, if I click on instrument right here, and all I had to do is go right here. When I click here, it'll allow me to make different folders, and what I did was I made those folders, and I brought in different instruments, and you can actually bring in different folders. So if I made a folder for bass, I could bring in all the bass instruments, and it actually required some time, I said, because I had to go through each one. You know, I really couldn't use the search function feature like I did on the other one, so I had to go through each one and see what each one was and go ahead and bring the folder. But once I had the folder, I could actually just drag the folder, and you can click the folder. When you see the folder over here, you can actually click the folder on your browser right here, and once it's selected, you can bring it over. You see right now it won't let me because the lock is on, so you take that lock off, and then it's going to let you bring stuff and start to organize, basically just making a quick link to these. And the way I did it, probably not the best way to do it, but I just brought in an instrument. Each one of these instruments represents, each one of these NKI represents different instruments. So rather than bring the parent folder of all the instruments over here where I have to navigate through different folders, I just brought the instrument in. So if I was to click on this brass right here and load it up, it's just going to load the instrument, which, I don't know, this is some instrument. And each instrument, of course, has tons of presets. So I'll just load up an instrument, and then I'll go through it. But it'll actually put me in a much better direction. So this is just a quick tip, you know, just about organization. Click here on, click on quick load right here, and make yourself some folders. Make some different folders here. Once you've got yourself a couple different folders, go ahead and start bringing sounds into them. You can actually bring folders inside of folders, because you see this guitars. I actually have a folder right here, this gritty guitars I just got just the other day. And you just bring folders in, and just brings it, and it makes it more organized to where I can get to these NKI files quicker, where I'm not going through this browser like I used to, and actually clicking on these folders and going through different kits like this. It was one of the reasons why I wasn't using Kontakt as much. I'd have to click on a folder, go on instruments, and then load up stuff. But if I just load up this first preset, you know, like inside this folder, 808 Massacre, and I bring it into 808s, well, once I bring up that 100 racks, it'll load up the instrument, and then I can just browse through the instrument and start loading up different presets. Just an ideal, a food for thought, but the main thing is organization with your VSTs, especially ones that have huge libraries like Kontakt. You need to get some type of organization where you can get to your sounds quickly and they're organized. And this is one way to do it, just by making these folders using the quick load feature. Cadillaktrackz 1.